I've gone to a decent level in calisthenics. And the thing is, when I first started, I was actually 12 or 13 years old. And I actually was very motivated to get into it. I would try random front lever attempts, wasn't able to do it, was barely able to do like 8 pull-ups back then. And that was like while training consistently. So I've been like an athlete most of my life. That was with training consistently. Would do handstands. I got to like a 1 or 2 second handstand after like a couple of months. That was like everyday training as well because I had no idea how to train it. And I had quit. I got into weightlifting and athletic training and all that kind of stuff. And I got into like kind of like pseudo powerlifting / bodybuilding type training. Now, over the past year, I got really into calisthenics. And over that amount of time, while participating in another sport, I might add, while being injured for the first 6 months and taking a 2 month layoff, 2 month layoff, midway in between that final 6 months, the things I achieved was 67 handstand push-ups in one workout. I got to explosive no dip muscle ups, slow muscle ups, did like multiple sets of like combos. So I was able to do combos to where like explosive muscle ups. And then I would do the slow muscle ups. I would like pause right here with it touching my chest. And then I would slowly roll over wide muscle ups, weighted wide muscle ups, weighted no dip muscle ups just because I wanted to try them. 90-degree handstand push ups. Currently, I'm training mostly planche and front lever. I'm able to hold like 4 6 second front lever, something along those lines. Not the competition standard, but it's fairly straight. My hips sag like a little bit at the end. Planche, I'm able to hold for like 2 seconds, something along those lines. One arm pull-ups, all that kind of stuff. I've gotten to a very, very decent level in a very short period of time. And the thing is, I used to train pretty much as consistently, just I didn't know what to do. So in this video, I'm going to give you how to actually train calisthenic skills, and it's going to be no BS, no fluff. I have a free community that I give a lot of these secrets away of like how to build like a general base of strength to get into calisthenic skills, and also how to learn your first 2 skills. I'm not hiding anything. Obviously, I have like a paid program and things, but those go into a lot more detail. I'm not hiding anything in this video. Just like this is literally, I can show you. This is literally my script. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that. It's literally like 10 words total. I didn't mean to hit my mic, sorry. It's literally like 10 words. So in like my paid programs, I'll go into a lot more detail. When I script these videos, it's like literally nothing. I just have this here so I can see like what it is I'm actually supposed to be talking about. The most important thing for skills training is the overall volume that you do. A lot of people say, no, low volume, train hard, high volume, whatever. The reason is when people say, because they come from high volume to low volume, their strength explodes, and then they think high volume is the thing, or low volume is the thing that's like key for everybody. These people are Neanderthals, just flat out. How volume to intensity works is the reason why something like the 2-set method works extremely well is because what happens is, and I was in Ian's program, okay? I was in the SSS. I left because it's absolute bugwass, and it's genuinely like not a very good like place to be in. It's just, I'm not going to like get into talking bad about it, but just take my word for that. Like I give you my word that it's not something that like is very, it's not something you want to stick with long term. Stick with like Street Lifting Club and Street Workout Central, like those type of communities. My community, like first thing in the description. Essentially, the path that Ian puts you on from zero is he has you do higher volume, and then he switches you to the 2-set method. So from 0 to 15 pull-ups, and then like 0 to 10 dips, for example, he has you do high volume, like 8+ sets a workout, training super lots of reps in reserve, not training very hard the first couple of sets. Then you do the 2-set method. How do you think power lifters train when they're going for a 1-rep max? They do their highest volume far away. They work on technique, they work on general strength, they work on getting stronger, all that kind of stuff. Then what do? Lower the volume, get more specific to what they're going for. Then they do really low volume. 3 sets a workout, 2 sets a workout, 1 max single where they peak. The reason why going from high volume to high intensity works so well, especially for beginners, is because normally beginners, I've noticed this. I had a coaching client, Whale, who was training for like 2 years, but wasn't able to do like weighted pull-ups or anything because he would do like random splits. He was honestly like decently muscular and like brown dude, like good looking, like all that kind of stuff. Like very like honestly, probably slightly less jacked than me, and I'm like the coach. Maybe even more jacked, to be honest. And when we switched to weighted, when I actually put him onto like a proper plan, in 2 weeks he got to 25 kilo dips. And I knew this, and I put him on like a relatively low volume plan because I knew like we just need to push intensity. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he got to 25 kilo pull-ups for sets of 8. That's absolutely insane. And the thing is, it's because he came off of high volume. But how you actually get to the level to where you're able to do max out sets like that is doing high volume. So how you train skills is, unless you're going for like a max hold, and then you have to periodize this. So like certain period of time you do high volume, low intensity, other period of time you do high intensity, low volume. To just straight up learn your first skill, handstand push-ups, muscle-ups, for example, they kind of apply to both. Low reps, high sets. Doing in between 8, I was going to say 5, but that's more beginnerish. Getting to the level to where you can do 10 sets of 1 rep on handstand push-ups is like beginner. Like that's barely scratching the surface of beginner. In between 8, I found, and in between 20 is the best set range. So the best number of sets to do. Again, it depends on the amount of times you train per week and all this kind of stuff, and obviously how well you recover. And heavier guys have a harder time on the wrists than lighter guys, for example. But if you're able to do 8 to 20 sets of 1 per session, and then you drop back down to 8, and then you do sets of 2, and then you go up to 20 again, then 20 sets of 2, and then you drop down to 8, and then you go up to 20, and then you do 20 sets of 3. That's 60 total reps right there. After you do that for a certain amount of time, so I recommend a lot of people when they ask me is getting to around 20 sets of 2 before lowering the set range, so like 8 to 12 sets, I found is really good, and that's how I got to 67 reps. I did, I think, I want to say, what did I do? I want to say I did 11 sets of 6 and a set of 1. So I did 10 sets of 6 and then a set of 7, like one of my last sets. Volume is most important. Because if you think about it, you want to practice a movement. You're not treating it like a bodybuilding split, because skills, if you're already strong, and this is why strength is so important. So many people don't talk about strength. Literally, I talked about this last video. When you have someone who's ridiculously strong, there's not a ton of muscle activation, a ton of like nervous system fatigue that gets generated when doing skills. So nervous system fatigue is like them having to be technical and learn the technical aspect and all that kind of stuff. But once they learn that, then they're completely Gucci. They're completely cool. When you have someone who's strong, who can dip 1 time their body weight, so like they weigh 100 kilos, they dip 100 kilos for 20 reps. Let's give an extreme example. Obviously, you don't need to get that strong. Like that's completely ridiculous. Getting to 50% of your body weight for 10 reps on dips is more than enough without receiving diminishing returns. If you're able to do that fairly easily, I guarantee you can already do a handstand push-up your first session. If you know how to do a handstand, obviously, and if you've been working like negatives or whatever. Because you're strong enough. Your muscles aren't activating very hard. You can do tons of sets, and this is why tons of sets work, is because, like we talked about before, what do we talk about when we were talking about periodization and powerlifting and the 2-set method and all that kind of stuff? High intensity to high volume. So low intensity, high volume to low volume, high intensity. But you go back. You rotate between, and it waves in and out, back and forth. When you do this process, you get strong. What is that? High intensity proportion to what the muscle can do. Now, when you go to skills, it's a low intensity proportionate to the muscle. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Proportionate to what the muscle can do. When you do things like this, when you get to a high level volume, when you train tons of total reps, tons of total sets, you are going to get better. It's like if you were trying to get better at communicating with people, would you talk to your best friend for an hour, Or would you talk to 10 different people for 5 minutes? You would obviously talk to 10 different people for 5 minutes, even though you're spending less time with those people. Why? Because different people give different feedback. And when you do sets over the course of multiple sessions, there's so many different aspects. There's a kick up, there's a lowering part, there's a raising. Did you pause the bottom? Did you pause the top? How do your wrists feel? Did you put a ton of pressure this way? Were you in a banana form? Whatever. There's tons of different social cues and cues when it comes to the training that when you go through it, even if you technically did less that session, the learning aspect is more. So that's what you have to be doing in order to get better. You have to be doing volume if you want to get better at socializing, if you want to get better at recording videos like I do. I used to post daily for people who were here for the beginning of this channel, the first like 80 subscribers. They knew that for like over a month, I was posting daily. And those videos are privated and deleted because it's like a completely separate part of my channel. It's like completely different niche, whatever. Now I talk about calisthenics, but right now I'm posting every other day. How do you think you get better at posting? You do more. You don't post one really long video. You don't go for an hour. My brain is completely cooked. This is my third video I've recorded today. Both of the ones before were like 15 to 20 minutes. I was talking very intensely. I was going to like a very high level of my work capacity within a given period of time. I'm doing this because I'm increasing my work capacity. I'm getting better at the movement. I'm doing more volume over time, so I'm able to do more. Because once school starts, when I have a job, if this is difficult for me, I am screwed. So I have to do this now, 2 days before school starts. And this is what I have to do. But what's going to happen when school starts? Even with this example, I'm going to be going from high volume, or I'm going to be going from higher intensity to lower intensity, higher volume. So I'm going to be doing more things, just less things that are super dedicated, because this entire summer I've dedicated to this like YouTube channel and this business. And I've made like $72. 3 months, $72. Bro, that's $6 a month, by the way. School told me, because those were from yearly subscriptions to a coaching program that I have. I'm the best entrepreneur ever. Anyways, this is why volume is important. And it's really easy to get into high volume when you're already strong. And in my free program, I teach you how to do all of that. If you're curious, first link in the description, free. All you have to do, literally just press the join button, follow the steps. Do that. My name's been Brandon. Keep doing the best of doing your best. Trust God. Signing off.